Hi guys, me again. So, I'm doing another story time today, as you can see by the title. The time I had to jog from my place to work to my girlfriend's apartment. We actually work at the same place. We work as custodians currently at a school in Avon, Indiana, Avon Middle School North. I'm just giving you specifics because if you've ever been there or something, maybe you know what it looks like, but just telling you to tell you. So I work at Avon Middle School North in Avon, Indiana, and I'll tell you about the time I had to jog from work to my girlfriend's apartment. Now this might be a little bit of a lengthy video, just a little bit, just by a hair than usual, maybe 20 minutes or so. So prior to the incident of me having to jog from my place of work, our place of work, to her apartment, I used to go to the wrestling room, in the wrestling room of the school. You know, when you work at a school, whether you're a teacher or any type of staff, if you want, honestly, they don't care if you stay the night at the school, as weird as that sounds. Like, you can come in at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning to grade papers, to do things for your class, and you can come in and do whatever you want. You can stay as late as you want. So you can basically stay all night if you want at the school, as long as you don't damage anything or break anything or whatnot, and act in a professional manner. You don't have to act in a professional manner, just don't break crap. You know, I was in the wrestling room doing front flips, and that's something I did, and that is what led me to my demise, where I had to jog from school to her apartment. So prior to that incident, I was at the school, and I'd go like every day. You know, I'd leave her apartment and I'd go do front flips in the wrestling room, because they have this huge red mat and then these little black mats that you can stack. So I stacked 2 black mats behind the red mat, and I would jump off the 2 stacked black mats. They're stacked about 2.5, 3 feet tall, to do a little jump up and front flip onto the red mat. Red mat is very cushioned, so I couldn't hurt myself. It was just a good way to practice front flips. So on the night that I had to jog from work to her apartment, every night when I would do the front flips, you know, I'd set down my car keys, I'd set down my work keys, my phone, just so nothing would break. I think I usually keep my car keys on me. No, well, work keys, not car keys. And so that night where I had to jog, I, you know, walked in as usual, set down my car keys, my work keys, and I believe my wallet. I think I had my phone on me, and so I'm doing front flips, I'm playing around, just goofing off, and I get tired halfway through, so I'm like, okay, I gotta get a drink. I go out the doors, get a drink, and you know, I'm sweaty and all that, and I'm tired. I'm ready to keep doing it though, so I go back to the door, and it's locked. I have a key that can unlock every door in the school, and we have areas. When you work as a custodian, you work in your area. You might do the 7th grade side or the 8th grade side. You might do the gym run. You might do the band hallway run. That might be your area. Few people have master keys to the building. Master keys are basically just a fancy phrase to say that you can unlock every door in the building besides the head custodian's office. I don't know why it's the head custodian that you can't unlock his room, but you can unlock his office, which is in our break room. So I pull on the handle and it's locked. And the first thing that floats through me is like, you know, this momentary doubt. Like, did I really just do this? But then there was also like this calm warmth that kind of flowed over me too. I'm like, you know, I'll be fine. I can figure out ways to do this. So I started thinking of things to do. Now, in the wrestling room, and usually not all classrooms, but some classrooms, like in the band area or in the wrestling room, the weight room, they have exit doors too. So there's wooden entrance doors. So to get inside the room, inside the wrestling room, there's 2 big wooden doors, and then there's like a fire exit or like a steel door that you can walk out to that says exit. So there's 2 of those. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna walk around the building and check to see if I can get through that metal exit door into the wrestling room and grab my stuff. So I walked around, and I was really checking for an electronic entrance thing, which basically, some doors to that building, the school, you swipe your badge and you type your number in. So I swiped. I didn't swipe. Some doors you just swipe your badge, it lets you in, and you type in your code, it lets you in. Now you have to do both. You have to swipe your badge and type in your number. They recently did a remodel for those codes, and you have to do both now. So I walked around thinking, with hopes, knowing in the back of my head that there wasn't one, but I was like thinking of praying, hopefully there's an electronic access, because I have my car key. No, I had my what did I have on me? I knew my PIN. I don't think I had my badge to swipe, but I knew for a fact I had a PIN. So I was just hopeful either way. So I'm walking, and I go around, and sure enough, there isn't one, and that sucked. And that's when I really started to panic, I guess you could say. So I texted my girlfriend, and I'm like, hey, I locked my car keys and my work keys and my wallet inside the wrestling room. are your keys in the car, in my car? And, you know, I locked my car prior to doing the front flips and practicing in the wrestling room because I didn't want anyone getting in. My car keys were inside the wrestling room. And she said, yeah, they're in there. And I knew her keys wouldn't work on the wrestling room. Like I said, some keys you have to, some people have master keys, some don't. My girlfriend does not have a master key. And it's not a reason, it's not like how long you've been at work or how good you work that you get a master key. It's just some people in their area get a master key. It's just the way it is. So Richard, the head custodian, some other guys, I won't mention their names, but I mentioned one name, but like 4 people have master keys and the rest of the employees don't on second shift, which is what I work. And we were working days at the time, first shift, because school was let out. When school's in, when kids are in session, we work night shift. So I pull on every handle of my car and realize that the door's locked and, you know, that her keys are in there. And I knew she didn't have a master, but I just wanted to try her keys anyways, just to get up my hope, even though I knew it probably wasn't going to work. So pulled on all the doors and locked. So then what I did was I found an old coat hanger at work that nobody really used. Broke the coat hanger, a big wire coat hanger, real thin, straightened out the hook and whatnot, and I tried to break in my own car. And it was really sketchy because it was at nighttime too, and if like a cop saw me and talked to me, I'd say, hey, I locked myself out of my car or whatnot, and he said, you work here? I'd say, yeah, obviously. But, you know, so I'm trying to work at getting into my car. I'm trying to stick it in the lock. I'm trying to stick it down the window. That's not working. And eventually I just say whatever, and I eventually start thinking of ways to get inside of the wrestling room with the coat hanger. Now, I was not going to break anything in the school. I was not going to break down a door, break glass. I'm not going to do that to a school because I work there, and that's vandalism. Terribly wrong. Wasn't going to do any of that. So I was just thinking of harmless ways that the employees wouldn't mind if I did something to get in the room. So first thing I did was I took the coat hanger, and in between the wooden doors when you walk in the wrestling room, there's a little gap. You know, when there's 2 doors, there's obviously a little slit in between them, usually. To get inside the wrestling room, you pull on the handle. It's just a little handle. You pull and open the door. To exit, you push on a big metal square beam. You know, push doors when you're walking through like an office. I mean, you just push the bar on the door and it opens. So I was trying to feed the coat hanger through into the latch mechanism because, like I said, I'm feeding it into the wrestling room. And on the inside of the wrestling room, it's a push latch. And when you push, the hook on the top of the door jamb disengages, and that's what lets the door open. Because if you're not pushing on it, there's a latch. It's not going to move. So I'm trying. So for the latch, there's these on the inside of the doors. There's these very thin metal bars that run up into that latch mechanism, and those bars pull down when you engage the latch. So I'm trying to wrap the coat hanger around with just enough torque and momentum to pull down the latch, snake it through that little gap in the door, wrap it around the little latch and pull down and open it. Now I tried many times. That didn't work. I just didn't have enough. I didn't have enough grip or strength for it to wrap around and pull. Like it was wrapped around like measly. Like here's the bar. It was just loosely hanging around. You know, there was like no torque or anything. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So that didn't work. So I eventually started going to the wrestling room. And I started to fool with wrestling objects like belts, like weight belts. And I'm looking around and trying to find things that would be thin enough to stick the gap, but strong enough I can make like a mechanism to pull the latch. And it's very funny. It's funny how creative you get when you're in these situations where you need to get something done. It's like I found myself doing stuff. I'm like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. So I tried feeding it through the door and latching it again. That didn't work. And I also tried taking the coat hanger and on the push bar on the inside of the wrestling room doors, the wooden doors, I bent the hook a little, stuck it through, and I bent it with my weight. So it was now bent inside the door. Not inside the door, but it was bent on the inside of the wrestling room. And I tried pushing forward through the gap and pushing the latch, the actual push latch in. That didn't work out either, and it got more and more frustrating the more time went. So I eventually decided, can I lockpick this in a safe manner, not to destroy the lock or anything? Went down to the 7th and 8th grade side and found some clips, what are they called? Paper clips. Found some paper clips, looked up a YouTube tutorial and just decided I wasn't going to do that to a lock. I'm like, I work here, why would I do that? But I tried to do it in a safe way, it didn't work, and I just got really frustrated. Told my girlfriend I might have to jog to your apartment and stay there for the night because, you know, now I could have stayed at the school. I could have stayed the night at the school. I could have slept somewhere. You can do that. I could have done that, but I didn't want to. I just would have been weird seeing everyone in the morning. Hey guys, can I get in the wrestling room? Lock myself out. I would have felt stupid. So what I did was I was there at about 8:40, and I stayed there until about 10:40, 10:50, trying to get the lock open, trying to open the doors, and it didn't work. So what I eventually did was I also grabbed a ladder from the break room. I grabbed it was like we have like a 8-foot ladder, 12-foot ladder, and a 24-foot ladder or something. I grabbed like the 6 or 8 foot. That was maybe 8 foot. I don't know. But I grabbed the ladder and I climbed up by the restroom room doors and I moved a tile along, a ceiling tile. I moved it along, stuck my head inside the ceiling to see if there was a gap inside past the ceiling. If there was a gap that I could jump through, or if there was just like an opening to the restroom room. But no, they built a wall way past the actual ceiling tile and just went up, and I couldn't. There was no access. There was just a wall there. So I went to the weight room and I climbed the Smith machine. Smith machine is an assisted bench press machine basically, and I climbed that. I kind of parkoured up that, stuck my head through the tile, no avail, because the weight room's right here, wrestling room's right here. They're both right next to each other. The wall was built up there too. Ran out of ideas, and I walked outside almost at 11 o'clock at night, called her, said I was on my way, and I started jogging. Now thankfully she only lives 2.8 miles away from our place of work. She used to. We now live together. This is our new place in Danville. But she's living in Avon, but technically they call it Brownsburg. But the school to her apartment is 2.8 miles away. It's a 6-minute drive by car, and it took me 30 minutes to jog one way. And then I had to jog back that same morning because we were working day shift. Everyone got there really early in the morning. So I'm jogging. I start my jog, and I remember being filled with fear. Like this weird sense of fear. And I don't know why. Guess I was afraid of maybe someone getting me or something, but it was kind of foggy, and it was just very creepy, knowing in my head that I was jogging towards her apartment and knowing that it was going to be a while. Something about that, knowing that, was kind of creepy. But I did it, and I can run a mile in about 8-9 minutes, 7 minutes if I really push myself. And I jogged 3 miles, 2.8 miles in 30 minutes, no stopping. And, did it in 30 minutes and got there. Now, the thing was, the grass was very wet and stuff, and I was constantly shifting on the side of the road to avoid cars coming in the nighttime. Big, bright headlights coming towards me. Very, very creepy. So I'm jogging, and the way I was jogging, the grass and stuff was wet. There were sidewalks at first from the school to, down the road to Speedway. So what you do is when I leave the parking lot, I turn right, I go all the way straight to Speedway, and then I turn right again, and then I turn left into her apartment. So it's literally right out the parking lot, straight all the way down to Speedway, right, and then left when you get there. So I went down, jogging to Speedway. There were some what was it called? Sidewalks. More sidewalks than there weren't on the road to her apartment. So to Speedway, I was jogging on sidewalks and whatnot, but when I got from Speedway to her apartment where you take the left, it was just a bunch of grass. It was a bunch of wet, soggy foliage. It was just that and road and barely any sidewalks at all. And her road takes 15 minutes alone to jog down. From Speedway to Legacy Parks where she used to live was just a big straight road that just took 15 minutes to jog. You had to jog about 15-20 minutes down that road. And it was, the way I knew I was halfway there, or almost there, was far in the distance I could see this stoplight in the night. Very bright green, just in the distance, 2 little green dots. And so I started making my way there. And I remember the excruciating pain in my calves, because I run correctly, but when you're running through soggy grass and you're bouncing back and forth between lanes to avoid cars, you run in a weird way. I was running to try and avoid and hop over the grass, and as a result, the way I was running killed my calves. I remember when I got there, they were numb and just cramping and so painful. Absolutely so painful. I do not recommend anyone doing that unless you're jogging with correct posture. But, I was jogging through the night, and it was just, everything was quiet. Barely any cars, and it was kind of euphoric, but it was also just kind of almost like an out-of-body experience. It was weird doing it. I was thinking to myself, am I really doing this? Why did I do this? So I eventually, after a 30-minute jog with all these thoughts running through my head, seeing all these cars pass, and it just being the dead of night with just crickets chirping and whatnot, and cicadas singing their songs, and just cars passing by sometimes, and then fog everywhere. I eventually got there, sweaty as absolutely can be, the most sweaty I've ever been in my life, and I was very tired, but I was filled with adrenaline. And usually I cannot jog 30 minutes straight. I mean, I can, but it was so easy to do. I remember while I was out of breath and really sweaty, it was easy because I was filled with adrenaline stuff, you know. And so yeah, I made it there and went inside, and it was very weird jogging from there. It's like, wow, I'm really inside her apartment right now, because when you drive, it's quick. When I jogged, it's like, am I supposed to be here? Just a weird feeling I can't explain. So I got in there, and I just stood in front of the fan in her apartment just to cool off, and I laid down, and I woke up at 5 some. I had the day off, actually, because I had vacation days. You have to use your vacation days at work there. When it's a certain day, like July something, you have to use your vacation days up because you get new ones July something, so you have to use your vacation days. And I actually had that Monday off, which is when I slept and woke up to jog back, it was Monday. So I had that day off, which I would have hated going to work that day, and I'm glad I didn't. So it fell on a nice day. I jogged, got my car back, and didn't have to work that day, so it was nice. Took the baby girl to Walmart and stuff, and I had fun with the baby. So I woke up at 5 something, and I jogged. And I remember waking up, and my calves it was the worst soreness I ever felt in my life. Like, each step, I would limp, and just limp and limp. But then I had no choice but to jog, or else there was going to be a lot of people there. It would have been embarrassing. So I just started jogging. Calves got numb again. Jogged all the way back. And I loved the jog to the school in the morning when the sun was rising and there was kind of fog everywhere. Very beautiful sky, and it was fun. That was the fun part. I knew I was going to get my car and whatnot. Very beautiful. The air felt good. Everything just felt good. So I run in. There's Ricardo, a guy that works there, and I asked, "Can I have your master key?" He said yes. I said his name too. I don't even care. So I grabbed his master key, and I was sweating, and he was looking at me confused. Another girl was looking at me really confused. Went in with the most satisfaction in my brain ever. Turned the key. Walked into the restroom, grabbed my keys, my car keys, my work keys, my wallet, drove off, took my girlfriend to work, same place, told her all about it, how bad I was hurting and everything, and had a good rest of the day, and then I slept the next day so hard. Yeah, crazy. That was my story of the time I had to jog from my place of work to my girlfriend's apartment. If you guys want to see more, let me know. I'm now going to be doing a Chernobyl video next. If you guys don't know what Chernobyl is, I will talk to you about that. So I'm going to do that video next. I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next. Brennan, I'm going to be doing, just so you know, going to be doing that happiest memory so far video next. So stay tuned. That'll be up soon.